So recently Nintendo dropped an official Zelda timeline, but there's still some logical gaps in it, and we're going to explore that a little bit today, shall we? So, logically, first off, we start with Skyward Sword. It being the origin story and how the Master Sword's forged and all that. Next we have the Minish Cap. And somewhere in between there, Hyrule Kingdom is established. Then we have 4 swords for the Game Boy Advance. And here's where stuff starts to get a little heavy, temporally speaking. We have Ocarina of Time. And you don't need a DeLorean to follow most of the timelines. But first off, as a child, Link travels to the future where he is an adult and kills Ganon. So, beating Ganon, say BG, is one timeline. After doing that, Zelda sends him back to the past, but it's not the past where he was a child it's a different past that results from him telling on Ganon, effectively, to the king. So, Ganon gets executed. Let's call that EG. So this creates 2 alternate timelines from the present reality he came from. Now by doing so, he doesn't exist there anymore. Link doesn't exist in this timeline, he's here. And that's why Majora's Mask is a sequel to Ocarina of Time, and he's a kid in that game. Following that, we have Twilight Princess, and then 4 Swords Adventures for the GameCube. Now, back in the timeline where Ganon gets killed by Link, somehow there's a flood, the whole continent, everything's gone. So that is why in Wind Waker, you're sailing, for one thing, and why Link has to find the Triforce. Because he doesn't have it anymore, because that Link from here doesn't exist there. He didn't die there, he didn't have descendants there, so that's why he had to find it from the shards. Now following that game we have Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, where they find an entirely new continent to call Hyrule. They left the old world behind, found a new one. Now back to let's call it the main timeline. We have Link to the Past, where Ganon has somehow escaped from being sealed after the sages sealed him away, because after all, we do know that seals are meant to be broken. Then we have Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Then Link's Awakening, Legend of Zelda, the original, and Legend of Zelda DOS, The Adventures of Link. So, that was a quick timeline. Hopefully didn't bore you out too much. And have a good one.